Hi there, welcome back on the channel. As you can see, we have another Mercedes. This time is the smaller SUV coupe from Mercedes. It's the GLC 250 4MATIC in this configuration. The car is from 2018 and it has done almost 68,000 kilometers until now. So let's see, what does it mean that we have the 250 configuration of the GLC Coupe? This car is the first gen of GLC Coupe, and it does have a 2-liter petrol engine with a turbocharger, an automatic gearbox with a torque converter, and all-wheel drive. The power figure sits around 211 horsepower, and the torque is at about 350 Newton meters. On paper, the sprint from 0 to 100 happens in about 7.3 seconds, and the top speed is limited to 222 kilometers per hour. Not really my cup of tea in terms of alright specs, but I don't really care. As I'm already used to say, the performance on paper are not nearly half the story of a car, because this one is a compact SUV, and although it does have an interesting design, with this one at least with the AMG packet, it's not really meant to do laps on the circuit or anything like that. It's more likely to haul your family in comfort with an interesting sound on the background coming from the engine or from the sound system. So yeah, that's pretty much the main aspect of the car. I forgot to mention the weight. It sits at around 1.7 tons, so not light, not heavy, considering it does sit in the middle of the Mercedes range. So yeah, for me at least, it looks nice. I know not everybody shares that opinion. The BMW X6, when it first came out and set the benchmark for this type of vehicle, the SUV coupe, was quite disputed. But for me at least, in this color with the AMG pack, it looks actually quite nice. So yeah, let's see more on the inside. As I was talking about the family, you can fit the luggage in the trunk space without a problem, and I do enjoy the opening, which happens by pushing the logo on the back, and also covers the backup camera, which means that it never gets dirty, which is nice again. But as you can see, we have the typical cover, which I don't like, because you really have to stretch your way into the car, and if it's a bit dirty, the rear bumper, you're gonna get it on your clothes. Other than that, the space is it's alright for the most part. I mean, yeah, it is kind of high from the ground, as you can see, and that means the depth of the storage space is not huge, and also the design of the car, having this sloping roofline on the back, means that you are not able to fit luggages on the side, at least not here in the back. But anyway, our carry-on luggage, as you can see, doesn't look so petite in here, but I think you can squeeze around 5 to 6 carry-on luggages like that one in here. And you also have a pocket on the left side with some net. the ability to fold down the seats from here, and some hooks on either side as well. Other than that, underneath the boot floor, it's actually quite a useful space. Not sure that you could fit a spare wheel, not on this model at least. It doesn't seem to come with a spare wheel from the factory, but the space is more than enough. And for sure, it seems like you have another half of the space underneath the boot floor. Now let's check out the back space, the space in the back actually. First, the door card. We have a premium manufacturer, a premium car, and it's shown by the covers, the seals on the door, and also the materials actually, because they're quite soft up here, even softer on their armrest, with some interesting decor, with some aluminum, well, sort of some gray plastic actually, with ambient lighting, with a speaker here on the back, the same decor around the button for the electric window, and also a pocket which is not covered but it's deep enough. So yeah, an interesting design. The materials are identical with the ones from the seats, so that's nice. The only downsides are the following. Firstly, you don't get any storage in here, not a net, not anything. And also, yeah, you can clean this material quite easily, but it's a bit hard, and if you bump your knees into it, it's gonna hurt. Then they went really cheap here. This material is actually quite brittle, and it doesn't look all that nice, but anyway, at least you don't get too much noise from the seatbelt. And the third material that doesn't look so nice is this one from here. Quite a cheap feeling plastic. But other than that, yeah, we do have some vents here with some decor elements, a storage space down below, light fixtures on the ceiling, and the central armrest, which houses a storage space with a cover inside, and a couple of cup holders that are adjustable. So that's nice as well. But I'm not able to find the USB port here in the back, or even a 12-volt outlet. Weird. As you can see, this is the space here in the back. Surprisingly, I have more than a palm of space for my knees, and also for my head. Well, more like 3 fingers of space, but again, it's more than enough on what is otherwise a compact SUV with a coupe sloping roofline. I mean, it's more than enough. Yeah, I do have some vents here, armrest. The front seat is quite high, so I can stretch my legs underneath the chair. So for the most part, it's alright. It's quite spacious back here. My only complaint, almost as usual, the seats, the bench are a bit too short, and I have more than a palm of space without any support. But that's pretty much my only complaint. Other than that, it's fine back here. Now let's check out the front part of the car, and again we have almost the same design, and the materials again are soft and squeegee on almost the whole door card except the lower part, but that's normal, it's alright. We also have the seat heating over here, and a bigger pocket inside the door card. So yeah, all in all, looks nice. And also the seats are quite nice. Being a sporty pack, the AMG pack, it means that we do have some body hugging seats with an extension over here and lumbar support, and you also control the seat from here. You can raise the front part of it or the whole seat, but it does have a quirk. You cannot move the seat from here. It's actually a lever down here. Why? I don't understand. Well, yeah, maybe it's just this model, the configuration of it, but it's weird. If we have a seat inside, as you can see, I have more than enough room to, again, you wouldn't know that it is a compact vehicle. And for my surprise, at least, we do have soft material even here, so you can rest your knee without a problem. The space is more than enough, about 3 fingers for my knees, and also the glove box is nice and large, covered. And also, ooh, look at this, we have perfume. It gets in the air vents. Yeah, that's a premium feature right there. Now let's check out the door on the driver's side. Again, the same materials, the same design, except the fact that we have the possibility of locking and unlocking the doors from the inside. The whole array of buttons for your windows and outside mirrors, and also you can open the trunk from down below. Again, the seat is identical with the one from the passenger side, with the same unusual thing, but for the most part is alright. On the left side of the steering wheel, you have the light controls and also the parking brake. Now, let me have a seat inside. And also, I'm gonna start the car. This is the POV of the driver. As you can see, the steering wheel, it's a bit on the hefty side to say in this manner, but you do get some perforated leather on the sides, because this one is the AMG pack, and also the steering wheel. It does get some interesting flappy pedals for the gearbox. They're not metal, but at least they are an interesting color. They mimic metal, so yeah. And another fact, we don't have piano black inside the car, which again, it's a nice thing to see. The controls are physical. On the right side you control the multimedia, and the left side you control the small display from the gauge cluster. And on the back of the steering wheel we have the usual stocks, lights and wipers, cruise control, and a gearbox on the right side. Talking about the gauges, the gauge cluster, it's analog, easy to read, quite an interesting design with these covers on either side, and the display is nice and bright, so I like it. Then we get some light controls, SOS button, and some additional controls for conducting Mercedes. You do get a sunglass holder, but it's not covered, only get this rubber mat. Anyway, then you get the mirror with lights inside it, and quite a hefty frame, but again, it's from 2018, the car, and again it shows on this infotainment screen, which does have a huge bezel, but the screen itself is nice and up on the center console. You are not really taking your eyes off the road for large amount of time to do whatever on the infotainment screen, and it doesn't block your view. So yeah, it's alright for the most part. Then we get the air vents, which do look nice, and then the climate control with all those buttons like it should be. Afterwards we have a CD DVD slot, some additional quick commands for the multimedia, the infotainment screen, and also the hazard lights. Down below we have a cover with a 12-volt outlet, some storage space, some cup holders that are adjustable and you can remove them entirely, but it's the same material as in the AQE. And to be frank, I'm not sure that it's an alright material. I mean, it feels kind of flimsy. Anyway, then we have the control for the multimedia screen. Yeah, I'm gonna address the elephant in the room. As you can see here, the surface has not stood up the test of time, and also here. So yeah, I'm not sure that's acceptable on a premium manufacturer like Mercedes, but it is what it is. On the left side here we have the control of the driving modes, the parking sensors, the manual gearbox setting, the start-stop system, and on the right side the traction control, the on-off button of the infotainment screen, and also a volume rocker, which is actually quite satisfying to use. Anyway, the central armrest opens like this, and it does have a lot of space, as you can probably see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Welcome to the driving part of the review. I've already made some short trips with the car to get used to it and to be able to share with you my first impressions. For the most part, it's an interesting car with an interesting combination of engine, gearbox, all-wheel drive, and I'm pretty sure it helps the fact that it's equipped with the AMG pack. Because the seats, for me at least, are almost perfect. They don't have all the adjustments that can be had, and they're not perfect in terms of comfort, but they are quite body hugging without being I don't know how to express myself, without letting you feel like you're restrained in the chair. So that's a big plus. The engine, for the most part, it's alright. It's a 4-cylinder, but at least it's petrol. So it does have an interesting sound to it. It's not amazing in terms of acceleration, but it will get you from A to B with a lot of fun, actually. Well, come on, not a lot, a bit of fun. A bit of fun. The gearbox, it does hesitate from time to time, but if you put it in manual and use the flappy pedals on the steering wheel, it's more than adequate. It helps that this one is equipped with 4MATIC, with all-wheel drive, and also with the adaptive dampers. which in comfort are not the most comfortable. Again, it's quite a tall car, a bit on the heavy side, weighing at about 1.7 tons, so it's gonna lean a bit in the corners, even if we switch the car to sport mode. But I wouldn't bother. I mean, it's best to set your individual profile. For me, at least, to leave the suspension in comfort, and also the steering feel could be set to sport, and of course the engine. So yeah, that's the suspension part. I do have to mention that we have winter tires and we are running on 18 inches with a lot of rubber, so maybe that part helps with the comfort, but even so, it's not amazing. But as I said, the steering gets quite light. I prefer it in sport mode. It gives you a bit more feedback this way. And the noise levels are, again, not amazing. Now we are doing 90. This is the noise inside the cabin. Now let's go to 110. This is it. And in a while I'm gonna go to 130 for a short period of time. But you could probably hear a lot of road noise. As I said, yeah, we do have winter tires, but even so, they have a lot of rubber on them, so it could have been better. We have lots of sealing and covers on the doors, but only one pane of glass. So again, that could be better. Anyway, for the most part, it's gonna be all right. You do get a bit of wind noise, especially after 100 kilometers per hour, but that's to be expected, being sort of a long car. It requires some hefty amount of mirrors on the outside, and usually that's the case. We get a lot of wind noise. Now let's see at 130. Which is now. Yeah, as I said, a lot of wind noise. And a bit of tire noise, but at least the engine is not intrusive. It could have been better, but for the most part, it's alright. I also like the brakes. The pedals overall, they are easy to modulate. They could give you good feedback, so again, that's a plus. And for the most part, even though it's a family SUV and on paper is not amazing, it feels quite nice to enjoy on some twisted bends. All right, let's talk about the maintenance, because once again, I don't have anything to say in terms of problems. The owner had the car from new, but he didn't encounter any problems with it until now. So that's a good thing. Not for us, because again, we don't have a topic, but anyway. In terms of maintenance, you have to expect some running costs higher than on regular models. Even though we have a petrol engine that could be serviced at around 10 to 12,000 kilometers, even 15,000 if you're only driving outside the city. And it could benefit from some spark plugs at around 50 to 60,000 kilometers. The all-wheel drive system at the same amount of kilometers should be checked and serviced. And also the gearbox. Well, the gearbox, if you're using it inside the city and you're encountering a lot of start-stop traffic, it could be necessary maintenance at around 50 to 60,000 kilometers. If you're using the car outside the city, you could go to about 80, 100,000 tops. Yeah, something like that. And also the oil changes for the engine should be at around 8 to 10,000 kilometers if you're using the car only inside the city, or 90% of the time inside the city. Other than that, you need to expect some costs for tires, for brakes, maybe some suspension bushings, because it is quite an engaging car and a bit on the heavy side, and that could mean some costs sooner rather than later for brakes and tires. Even though it doesn't have the nicest sound to refer it that way, the engine is alright. It is helped by the gearbox and the all-wheel drive system. But the gearbox shifts even if you set it to manual. Yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of the maintenance costs. You could add some part of your budget towards the consumption of the car, because it's not the most frugal engine. You'll see values as low as 6, I'm not sure, maybe 7 to 8 liters on national roads, obeying the speed limit. On the highway, most likely you'll see values as high as 9, maybe almost 10 liters per 100 kilometers. And inside the city, something around 12 to 13. In Bucharest, at least, you could see values as high as 14, 15 liters per 100 kilometers. It's not necessarily relevant, but to give you an example, I've driven almost 40 kilometers, and the speed, the average speed, is a bit over 55 kilometers per hour, and the car shows me a consumption of 9.9 liters. So, yeah. It is a premium car, an SUV. You should expect some higher running costs overall. And if I would try to find something to really get you to dislike the car, it's a single thing. The fact that the view out the back, it's pretty crappy. I mean, I'm used to this sort of shapes. Like, I had a Audi A7, I drove the GLE Coupe, but this one, it seems like the window, the bottom part of the back window, it's way too high, and also the cover of the booth, it's again way too high. You only have a small amount of window to look through, and it's a good thing that you have parking sensors and or backup camera to be able to park this car. Anyway, for the most part, I enjoyed the car. That's pretty much it in terms of the review. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking it and also subscribing to the channel. To leave your impressions, you could use the comment section or the social media. And as always, thank you for watching.